The first video that I saw when I logged in today is a video of a guy who was talking about a story that I think a lot of us have heard. So there was once a TikTok clip or a podcast clip that was making rounds all over social media, and in that clip, it was a guy who was telling a story of how he rescued his child from human traffickers, in short. In the video, he explains how his child was used for sex trafficking, how they wanted him to pay a certain amount of money before they could release the child. And he mentions that he called a certain government official, and that particular government official made a call, and the child was released. Now, I know you might not see how it is a bad thing and how that should be concerning, but that's exactly how a lot of us viewed that situation at first. And that was before we knew that government officials are in bed with the cartel, they are in bed with criminals. So, the reason this is very alarming is because it basically just proves that government officials are actually working with a criminal syndicate, because for a government official to make a call and that call goes exactly to the person who's in charge, it would mean that he knows what's going on in that city. He is well aware of the criminal activities that are happening in that city. And it's scary that instead of breaking down the whole syndicate, instead of, finding cops and going after that syndicate, because basically he knew where the child was being held, meaning that he probably knows where even more victims are being held. It means that he has the capabilities of organizing a team to, a strike team, if that's the right word to use. He has the capabilities of organizing a team of police officers who will go and arrest the people who are kidnapping, those young women. It means that he is aware that this is what's happening and he's deciding not to do anything about it. And the reason behind situations like this are usually the same. It's basically because he is benefiting something from the people who are running these criminal organizations and activities. If a person who is in government knows who to call when somebody is kidnapped, knows who to call when somebody is robbed, I know that we might usually see it as a good thing. We usually think that the people who have connections are good people, but in this instance, this is not a regular person. This is not me. This is not you. This is a whole, mayor of a very big town in South Africa. So he has the capabilities of stopping this, but he's not doing that, which goes back to what General Mkhonazi said. I remember there was a series that I watched, and the name of the series is called The Mayor of Kingstown. And in that series, what happens is that there is, a guy called Mike, and he is the mediator between police and criminals in that particular area. So what he does is he keeps peace, meaning that he stops criminals from doing too much crime. And then he stops the police from harassing the criminals too much. You get it? So he stands in the middle. He's basically a middleman, and then he knows every single operation that happens in that particular city. So his main focus is to make sure that there is a clear line of communication between these two sides, the wrong side and the right side. So it kind of sums up what's happening in South Africa. There is obviously a mediator between the two. Unfortunately, it seems like there isn't really a mediator. It seems like these are just people who work together. So that's like a very concerning. I remember when I stayed in Rustenburg, there is a place called Rustenburg North in Rustenburg, and Rustenburg North was known for, drugs. It was known for prostitution and all that, bad activities. So I remember that the police clearly knew what was happening in Rustenburg North. Everybody was aware what was happening in Rustenburg North. Even somebody who did not stay in Rustenburg at that time. If you were to tell that person that, I live in Rustenburg North, then they would tell you that that place, there is a lot of Nigerians, there is a lot of drugs, and then there is a lot of things that are happening in that area. But On top of that, none of the people in charge actually saw it as fit to kind of go to Rustenburg North and find out what's happening, to kind of run an investigation and then arrest the people who were dealing drugs there, arrest the people who were involved in prostitution there. None of the people in charge really saw it as a good idea until the taxi drivers took it, amongst themselves to handle that situation. I remember the taxi drivers were like cleaning the whole Rustenburg area, that they even cleaned the Rustenburg North to a point that it was one of the safest areas to live in afterwards in. So I also stayed there and it was very peaceful to live in Rustenburg. I just don't know the state it is right now, but I know that if it wasn't for the taxi drivers, none of the officials who were in charge, none of the law enforcement people were really doing anything about it, which takes me back to what's happening in Hillbrow, which takes me back to what's happening in Sunnyside. People know that these are the areas where you will find drugs, where you will find illegal activities taking place. They know. That's basically general knowledge. You understand? Every single person who's either in Pretoria or in Joburg knows that, these are no-go zones because of 1, 2, 3. So even on top of that, the police, we don't see police people going to Hillbrow. The only person who caused a havoc there was Tolani when he went to Hillbrow, and hence there was also trending because nobody is really doing that in Hillbrow. You understand? People know what's going on in Hillbrow. So why are they actually not handling that? Why are they not arresting people? Why are they not raiding that location? The simple explanation is because there are people who are benefiting from that, and the people who are benefiting from that are the people who are in charge of the law enforcement. There are the people who are in charge of the government. There are people who are in power, so they have authority to a point that they can stop the police from raiding Hillbrow, from raiding Sunnyside, and finding out what's happening in there and stopping and arresting these people. We have had like a lot of situations whereby people are still selling drugs in South Africa, but nothing is being done. Hence, a lot of people see South Africa as a joke. It's because of the law enforcement. You remember the situations of people were protesting against illegal immigration and all of that, and the people had the audacity to tell people that they are not immigration officers, meaning that they cannot tell them anything unless they are immigration officers. So it clearly shows that the entitlement that people have in South Africa is not something that they developed overnight. It's because they know that the law enforcement, they can control the law enforcement. So we are really in danger as we speak right now. South Africa has turned into something else, and we did not really realize that a lot is happening in South Africa. But the nice part is that since now it has been mentioned that the government is involved, the politicians, let me not say the government, the politicians are involved with certain organizations, certain things are starting to make sense at this point. We are starting to realize that, oh, so and so, when he said this, it was because of 1, 2, 3. We are starting to realize now the picture is kind of becoming clearer. We didn't really see or understand how deep certain things are, but right now there are just certain things that we will be able to explain, like the situation of drugs and then where the drugs ended. And there are a lot, but I just hope a lot and lot more people will come forth and just expose certain things, so that eventually we would be in a position where we can say that we are fixing our country. Because it's pointless to say we are fixing our country and yet we don't know what the problem is. So right now, at least we know that the biggest battle that South Africa is fighting with right now is corruption. So that has been put to light, and now we know that this is the problem and we know how to handle that. So that's the situation. I'm very happy that this was the first video that I saw when I first came online, because it really opened my eyes that, people have been speaking things, right under our noses. They've been exposing things, but we were not aware how deep that went. And now that we know that there are certain people who are involved with certain things, and there's just a lot that's happening, we can pinpoint certain activities, we can pinpoint certain, situations, and then we can now put the puzzle together and build a picture. So let me know what are your thoughts in the comment section. Till next time, peace.